Good evening, Western Washington. I'm Matthew Fab with Western Washington Weather. I'm doing a late Saturday night update here to show you guys all some interesting forecast models that have come in tonight regarding potential thunderstorms going into Saturday or Sunday morning here. So starting with the satellite imagery, you can see we do have some clouds moving up here across parts of Western Washington as we go to about 11 o'clock tonight here. You can see some of these mid-level clouds starting to move up. And if we take a look at the radar, you can see that you got a little bit of shower activity in some of these clouds moving up, but this is likely high-based shower activity that is not really making it to the ground at all. You got some thunderstorms up here on Vancouver Island, but other than that, not very much going on here on the radar tonight. So going into our overall pattern here real quick, you can see we have the upper level low that we've been talking about for the last few days offshore, and this kind of moves a little bit closer as we go into the day. Sunday got that southerly flow that's going to be pushing these potential showers up across parts of Western Washington, and then that low starts to weaken and move back off to the west as this ridge builds in going into next week, bringing that potential for some heat across the region, especially east of the Cascades and up across parts of British Columbia. Taking a look here, this is what we want to see, the lightning flash density. This is showing that potential for where there could be some lightning. So this is just going hourly. So here's 11 p.m., here's 12 a.m. going into Sunday now, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. You can see some activity potentially off the Washington coast. But then as we go to about 4 a.m. here, you get some activity starting around Pacific County there as these showers and stuff start to move northward. You see that continues as we go towards 6 to 7 a.m. And then you get some more activity moving north up across parts of the Washington coast and the Olympics there. And then a little bit starting there in parts of Pierce County near Mount Rainier. Then you get some more storms beginning there around 8 a.m., moving up the coast, and then some in the mountains here. And by 9 a.m., these storms start to push north across parts of the Cascades, parts of the coast moving up toward the Olympics, and then right here across parts of Puget Sound. This looks like right over Puyallup and parts of Tacoma and Edgewood and stuff like that right in there, near Enumclaw, even a little bit further out here. And then these start to move north, going up across this line that kind of stretches from Olympia up through Tacoma, Federal Way, SeaTac, right over the airport there, then towards Seattle, Renton, Bellevue, and then up further north toward Woodinville, Redmond, in those areas, and then up into the Cascades in parts of Snohomish County and up towards Chelan County there near the north part of Lake Chelan. This is what the European model is showing at 10 a.m., plus some storms potentially on the Olympic Peninsula. And then as we get to 11 a.m., this strengthens as it's moving over central Puget Sound, including parts of Kitsap County near Bremerton, Port Orchard, Bainbridge Island, and then across toward Edmonds, parts of downtown Seattle, North Seattle there, and then up toward Everett as well. And then as we go to noon, this pushes further north up toward North Kitsap County, very far eastern Jefferson County there, and then up toward parts of Island, Snohomish, and Skagit counties. And then it gets a little bit more scattered as it continues to push north up toward 1 to 2 p.m., moving up toward the Canadian border, and then moving on toward Vancouver Island. Then we get some more storms developing over the mountains and the Olympics there, Cascades Olympics, and potentially the Strait of Juan de Fuca, and that continues all the way into the afternoon before you maybe get some lingering thunderstorms and some showers around parts of Bellingham, northwest Whatcom County there, San Juans even, and Vancouver, BC. So it could be a pretty interesting day tomorrow if you believe the European model and what it's been showing. And it's something that is interesting to point out here is that if we go all the way back to this storms moving through moving from the Cascades up Puget Sound there through the metro area, if you go to the previous run, this afternoon run that happened tonight, you can see that it showed the same thing. It wasn't as strong on the afternoon run, but it does show a similar thing right there with those storms moving north up the Puget Sound, basically from 8 to 9 a.m. to about 2 p.m. when it moves up toward Canada. So there is a trend here on the European model showing these potential thunderstorms in the morning on Sunday. And then if you look at the precipitation forecast on the European model, not very much precipitation because these are very high-based thunderstorms, meaning that not very much precipitation is reaching the ground. And that's what I've been talking about lately with all these dry thunderstorms across the Cascades, that precipitation isn't reaching the ground, so the lightning starting fires. Excuse me. And then you can see that precipitation kind of from Pierce County up toward Island County, and then Snohomish and Skagit counties there, and then along the coast. If we take a look at the NAM model, you can see we do have some of this model disagreement where you're not seeing very much in terms of showers across the lowlands on the NAM model, and then the high resolution rapid refresh model, which has not done very good here the last few days with these thunderstorms, shows that Olympic Peninsula activity, but nothing in the Cascades or in the interior of western Washington along Puget Sound. And then the high-resolution Canadian model does show these thunderstorms, but starting from Whidbey Island and moving northward from there. So there's definitely some model disagreement, but the European model does tend to be one of our most accurate forecasts. So when it does show those thunderstorms for multiple model runs, it is something that you want to pay attention to, especially so close to an event. That, I mean, I'm making this video maybe 12 hours before this could happen, so it is still, with all this model disagreement, it really is anyone's guess, but having the European model show it 12 hours out is something that is very noteworthy given its accuracy. And then taking a look at something that could hinder this, though, is the smoke forecast. So this is the high-resolution rapid refresh model, and you can see it showing smoke aloft, and I have this at 7 a.m. Sunday. So it'll definitely be a red sky out there for any areas that don't have clouds, and even if the sun's shining through the clouds, you'll have some red tint there, because this is pretty heavy smoke aloft. A lot of this coming off the Emigrant Fire there southeast of Eugene, Oregon, and you can see as we go through the day, Sunday, that moderate smoke aloft continues. We may be starting to get some smoke plumes off the Wildcat Fire, which is just east of Chinook Pass and Mount Rainier there in very far northwest Yakima County, and that could be contributing to some of this smoke as well. That smoke aloft starts to push a little bit out of the region, but is still very close to us as we go into early Monday there. And then we may get another round of it starting to push closer to parts of western Washington going into Monday evening. More smoke off that Wildcat Fire and the Emigrant Fire here. So this is the smoke. When you go back, if we go back here to Monday or Sunday morning here, when those thunderstorms could be starting to move through, you can see how the smoke pushes north around that same time the thunderstorms would be there. But sometimes smoke can disrupt the instability in the atmosphere and take away the chance of thunderstorms because the smoke is too dominant and doesn't really allow the storms to form, and instead you just get some clouds moving through. So the smoke is definitely something that could put a damper on this potential for thunderstorms across areas of western Washington from Olympia and the coast all the way up toward Vancouver, BC, Vancouver Island, and all of that. And then just real quick, wanted to point out our temperatures for the next few days. You can see Sunday there likely in the mid-70s to low 80s across the region. Really does depend on cloud cover, though. Upper 60s on the coast. Same thing on Monday with Labor Day there, and then Tuesday we start to warm up with that ridge across the area. Upper 70s to low 80s Seattle northward, low to mid 80s from Seattle south, and then upper 80s to low 90s from Longview southward. And then you can see the coast in the low 70s. Warm up further there on Wednesday with highs from Seattle northward in the upper 70s to mid 80s, Seattle southward in the mid to upper 80s, and then Olympia southward in the upper 80s to low 90s there on Wednesday. And then the coast likely in the low to mid 70s. And then going into Thursday, we remain at similar temperatures to Wednesday there. And Friday, we do start to cool down a little bit with highs back into the upper 70s to low 80s across the region. So it'll be a brief but significant heat wave in September standards. And we may get a little bit warmer than this depending on some of the forecasts. So we do have to watch and see over the next few days here. And also wanted to point out here, our fires, we've got the Wildcat Fire, that's the one we were talking about, that could be starting to make some more smoke plumes. At 100 acres, I believe this 64 is outdated. And then Bear Gulch up 9,301 acres, you can see some hot spots on it there. And then a couple more new fires up across parts of the North Cascades that are definitely worth watching as well. And some of these ones in the Central Cascades could really increase if we get some of the right, or I guess you could say wrong, conditions as well. And air quality, just wanted to point this out real quick. We're in the moderate category for some parts of the metro area. Again, still generally in the good category in areas more exposed to onshore flow. And then you can see around the Bear Gulch Fire and parts of Hood Canal there is some surface smoke lingering there. And so that is why you have some elevated air quality in those areas. Also, a huge announcement for you guys, and I'll talk about this more in an upcoming video, but this is the new Western Washington Weather merch store. We've got a ton of great products that I'm selling on here, so go and check this out. The link is in the description. You can see all of these really cool products that I've got, from shirts, hats, even got some accessories like stickers and even a teddy bear and some other cool like aprons and cups and mugs and stuff like that. So go and check it out. There's some really cool ways you can support Western Washington Weather here and support the work I'm doing here on this channel, and also wear a logo that's really cool, and at least I think it is. So go and check that out. I'll put a link to that in the description below. I would love to see some folks wearing some Western Washington Weather gear across our area. So it's pretty cool to talk about. So go and check this out. Link is in the description below, and there is 25% off in the next 13 days. So that is cool as well. So thank you all very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe here to Western Washington Weather on YouTube. And then with this potential for thunderstorms coming up, be sure to follow the Western Washington Weather Facebook group, my Twitter account, and my Blue Sky account. The links to all of these are in the description as well, along with the link to the new merch store. So go check that out. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will talk to you all later.